Thank you very much for making a date today on the marketplace. Welcome back. The managers of the proposed industrial park in the Western region, Black Ivy, Ghana, has contracted Consa Limited to begin construction and development of basic infrastructure on a 52-acre portion of land for prospective tenants of the enclave to be known as the West Park. Speaking at the town hall meeting, Director for Black Ivy Ghana, Alex Kamfor Dumas, stated that he's convinced the expectations would be actualized by the end of the year. There's more in this report.
Consa Limited to begin the construction and development of infrastructure on a 52-acre portion of land for the first few tenants to occupy the industrial area. Speaking at a town hall meeting at the West Park premises, Director for Black Ivy Ghana, Alex Kamfor Dumas, stated that he is convinced the expectations would be actualized by the end of the year. He explained the scope of work on the 405-acre land and noted it will progress in phases over the next couple of years.
Phase 1 is 52 acres of development. Consa is going to develop the infrastructure for phase 1, and then the first few tenants that are coming in are in 5 acres of the 52 acres. So the build-up for that 5 acres is also starting, and Consa will be doing that as well for us.
Commenting on the company's and its partners' obligation to local content, Kamfor Dumas assured of fulfilling to their fullest ability any socio-economic responsibility to the local community.
We have the technical partner that we've appointed in the likes of Consa. And what we are going to be seeing now is the construction, as you've seen, is the first phase of the construction. But we believe that this is a partnership that we have to do with the community. We need to be very, very sensitive to the local content in this development project. And so that is one of the genesis of having this community engagement meeting that we had, and it's gone actually very well. You saw all of the people that we value as stakeholders were present in the meeting.
Western Regional Minister Dr. Kobna Ochredakon Mensah emphasized that companies that are local content compliant tend to build healthy and sustainable relationships with communities they operate.
Between Black Ivy, the companies that will be operating here, and then the communities and the members. Let's do something well structured so that can be an example of companies investing in communities and communities also benefiting directly. Because it will not be virtual that you have such major projects here and then continuously the people in this area continue to be poor.
Acting President of the Shama Traditional Council and Chief of Yabio Traditional Area, Nana Kwamena Yenu II, commended Black Ivy for the level of engagement and commitment given to the local people and the project. He maintained the company needs to be particular about building local capacities to support the economic livelihood of its people.
We, the Nananum, others, the citizens of Yabu and its environs, and to a large extent, the Shama districts are very, very grateful to the company, to Black Ivy.
For Joy Business, in Athalia Kwanza, Western Region.
And still in the Western Region, the Regional Coordinating Council has launched the maiden edition of Aviator, a business promoting strategy that networks the aviation industry and tourism to enhance tourist experiences within the region. It also provides an avenue for industry players to explore innovative ways of adding value and marketing tourist attractions in the region and to a greater extent the entire country. Another report by Natalia Kwanza.
Aviator is a collaboration of aviation and tourism with the main objective of enhancing aviation, tourism, and local travel for operators and patrons in these two sectors. Speaking at the Aviator Media Launch in Takoradi, Deputy Minister for the Western Region, Gifty Eugenia Kusi, stressed the initiative would showcase tourist opportunities that exist within the region and promote them to the world. She noted some partnership could be created to support and sustain development in the region.
To offer opportunity to showcase the tourist realities and opportunities that exist in the region to promote it to the world. Industrial installation like Atuabo gas, mining infrastructure, seaports, etc., which are not found elsewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, when our tourist sites are promoted and duly patronized, employment avenues for the youth will be certainly open, and it will boost our local economy and market for goods, food items, especially the services of the hotels and the chop bars.
A regional conference would come off between 2nd and 4th October 2019 to further discuss the region's potential ways to improve businesses and the livelihood of the people.
Aviation and tourism sectors in Ghana, we look at it as a separate entity, but they are interdependent. So without aviation, you should be rest assured that you're not going to get a lot of traffic into your country. Now we have the Takoradi Airport. Airlines come into Takoradi and then they cease operations because of low patronage of passengers. What can we do? The passengers that are coming into Takoradi now are coming in because of the oil. But apart from oil, what does the Western region have? So we need to tap into what the Western region has, that is tourism. And that tourism can drive in a lot of traffic into the country.
The aviation tour will help the tour association to do our package well, to introduce our tour bar, our local food to people well.
Since it is a measure of aviation and tourism, it is very good. And since it is aviation, I know they are going to make very much input into the tourism side, because the tourism side of development in Ghana is deteriorating.
A masterclass seminar will feature on Wednesday, October 2nd, and will focus on how to create routes and tourist destination of choice using Takoradi as a study case. In Athalia Kwanza, Joy Business, West.
And back in Accra, senior partner at AB and David Africa, David Ofosu-Dotte, is calling for an overhaul of the corporate governance structure of companies in the country. His call comes on the back of recent action by the Bank of Ghana, where 23 financial institutions had their licenses revoked. David Ofosu-Dotte argues that a cultural shift is necessary to bring indigenous businesses in line with good tenets of corporate governance. He stressed that poor corporate governance is the bane of the recent financial sector development. He spoke with Joy Business on the sidelines of the National Conference of the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
For most people in closely held enterprises, they fail to realize that once you've brought a company into being, that company has this distinct perpetual personality, different from you as a human being whose life is finite. I think as a nation, we need to do more and let those who set up these indigenous enterprises, as I may want to call them, or closely held enterprises, begin to understand the nuances of corporate governance and the need to distinguish their role as owners as separate from that of directors. The truth about it is that whether we like it or not, a large part of our business sector are in this nature. It is just because the ones which are in the financial sector have become the news of the day. But what is happening is not different from what is happening in other sectors. So if we took a conscious effort as a nation to create a business psyche in the minds of those who have entered into businesses, it will help. Because don't forget that these SMEs or micro enterprises, they start small. Maybe one man doing a susu enterprise with his wife, and when they registered, there was just a wife and himself as a director. Over the period, they grow, they get more deposits, they bring in a couple of friends, classmates, and the rest as directors, relatives. Then they go to Bank of Ghana, or they go to the regulator, they get licensed. These people remain, and because it is the owner who is there and directing everything, they run the company aground, and it may affect depositors' money and all that. So there is something about the way our culture makes us direct closely held enterprises that we need to look at.
Meanwhile, the first Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Maxwell Opoku-Aferi, has stressed that for digitalization in the banking sector to be able to grow banks and other financial institutions, the institutions must further educate their customers. According to the Deputy Governor, this will enable easy adoption of new digital products. Marcel Pukwa Ferry made this call at the Digital Banking Summit in Accra. Sheila Tamaklo reports.
According to the Deputy Governor, with adoption of technology, the level of financial inclusion jumped from 41% to 58% in 2017. This growth, the Governor noted, was led by an increase in mobile money transactions. However, speaking at the Digital Summit, Maxwell Opoku-Afari noted there was a need for further education on digital banking to expand its operations.
To further accelerate the digitization process, stakeholders must work collectively to promote merchant acceptance of digitized financial products and services, with particular emphasis on lower-tier merchants such as small and micro enterprises. The next key area is enhancing public confidence. Despite the successes achieved so far, some consumers still lack awareness and confidence in electronic payments. In this direction, the various stakeholders are undertaking continued consumer education and financial literacy to build confidence and help in fraud reduction. GIPS and stakeholders in the payments industry are also building a fund to support consumer education. Also, on a regular basis, payment service providers are educating the public on how to avoid scams in the use of newly deployed payment products and services. The Bank of Ghana is fully committed to the Cashlight agenda, which ties in with the government's agenda, digital economy agenda.
Meanwhile, MD for First National Bank Yawa Sari also noted access to quality data was also key in facilitating the digital drive.
Telephony is very important in some of the digital advancement that quite a number of countries have achieved. We see that our telephone companies are also improving their service and so on, because quite a bit of these things also ride on that. I mean, it's all about the data. Most of these things, innovations are around data and so on. So once we have the telcos improving on their service and making sure that we don't have all these breaks in service, then it becomes easier for banks also to go on that infrastructure. So in both directions, I think we've come quite a long way, even though there's still some work to be done.
The Banking Summit saw stakeholders in the banking sector discuss the impact of technology in banking, as well as the future prospects for financial services. For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo reporting.
Now, as part of the capacity training program, Managing Director of Multi-TV at the Multimedia Group, Santok Singh, has engaged the final 11 teams of the 2019 Cosmos Innovation Center Agritech Challenge. He interacted with them on the importance of advertisements and branding as a drive for business growth.
A lot of time I see a lot of people are just jumping the bandwagon. Okay, something is successful, let me do as well.
Consistency, relevance and solution-driven are all keys to the success of any business, as given by Managing Director of Television at the Multimedia Group, Santok Singh. His engagements with the Agritech Keys forms part of the capacity training program designed to prepare them for the job market. Santok Singh, who has over 8 years' experience in branding and advertisement, explained that a good branding strategy is the foundation for any business, particularly for small and medium-scale enterprises.
And they need to be focused in this, and they have to be taught how to, especially start up and all that, because they are starting from ground zero. So it's very important that they have this strategy clearly set out for them, and understanding. The most important thing is, like I say, that is understanding what problem are they solving, which of the market segment are they playing in, and then which target audience are they targeting. So they have to be very clear that, and based on that, then they'll be able to develop their strategy and then make sure that the product is successful in the market. And without proper marketing and branding strategy, there's no way that the product will.
Programs Manager for the KIC Agritech Challenge, Benjamin Jan Kesse, further explained the rationale behind the creation of the entire capacity building program as part of the roadmap in the 2019 challenge.
This training, especially what we've had today on the branding, is very important for entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs as such, because it helps you, and especially part of the program helps you that as I design the program, as I design my business, how am I designing it? Who am I designing it for? So we are beginning with the end in mind, in the sense that from where you are starting from, look at your business in 5 years from now. 10 years from now, how are you going to be seeing yourself? And that will help you to build a very solid foundation in having all these kind of thinking.
With this training and more given to the cohorts, they are expected to strengthen their business plan and attract more customers, not to forget, more importantly, revenue ahead of the final pitch in September. For Joy Business, Karen Dudu.
All right, let's go to financial matters now. With customers unable to access their funds, the last round of revocation of license of savings and loans firms and finance houses has sparked a lot of debate among stakeholders in the financial sector. The Finance Ministry says the cleanup of the entire banking sector is likely to cost 21 billion Ghana cedis by the end of the year. But would it have been money well spent? Sheila Tamaklo gives you a wrap of the banking sector cleanup and its impact so far.
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Shock, disbelief, confusion and anger as many Ghanaians woke up to news that their financial institutions will no longer operate. First was the UT and Capital banks that had their licenses revoked and their assets absorbed by GCB Bank. Then the consolidation of some 5 banks, Unibank, Royal Bank, Beige Bank, Sovereign Bank and the Construction Bank to form the Consolidated Bank. Then there was the revocation of licenses of Premium and Heritage Bank, and of course the downgrade of GN Bank to savings and loan status.
The Bank of Ghana has revoked the banking licenses of Premium Bank Limited and Heritage Bank Limited with effect from the date of this notice, and has appointed Mr. Vish Ashiabo of PricewaterhouseCoopers as receiver for the 2 banks. Complete details of the basis on which the licenses of the 2 banks have been revoked will be attached to this press release. Among other things, Premium Bank was found to be insolvent as of 30th November 2018 with a capital adequacy ratio of negative 125.62%. Heritage Bank, among other things, obtained its banking license on 4th October 2016 on the basis of capital with questionable sources. Furthermore, the bank was unable to meet the new minimum capital requirement of 400 as of 31st December 2018. The Bank of Ghana has approved a purchase and assumption agreement between the receiver and Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited, under which the receiver has transferred some assets and liabilities of the 2 banks to CBG. All deposits, current, savings, fixed deposit accounts of the 2 banks have been transferred to Consolidated Bank with effect from the date of this notice.
From threats of demonstrations to several petitions, both customers and workers of the defunct banks registered their concerns on their locked-up funds and job losses. But the Bank of Ghana explained the move was necessary to sanitize and strengthen the banking sector.
The Minimum Capital Directive was part of regulatory measures that were aimed at strengthening the banking sector to make it more resilient to shocks, as well as to help position the banks to better support the growing needs of the Ghanaian economy. It was also the expectation of the Bank of Ghana that the recapitalization exercise would help promote consolidation in the banking industry through sustainable mergers and acquisitions, along with stronger corporate governance structures and risk management systems and practices. Following the recapitalization exercise that has just ended at the end of December 2018, we now have 23 universal banks operating in Ghana. These banks have all met the new minimum paid-up capital of 400 million Ghana cedis.
But despite the assurances, some customers are yet to receive their locked-up funds.
I
was facing some financial challenges, so I decided to go to my bank to get my money. When I went there, They told me the payment time was not due, so I should go and come back. I went and came back some days later, and they had nothing to tell me. They went back and forth, and they came to tell me there was no money. Things have been very difficult since I don't have enough money. Similarly, several staff of the defunct banks that were laid off without the required several packages are still struggling to stand on their feet, a year after the licenses of the institutions were revoked.
All of a sudden we had the news that the bank has been consolidated with other banks, other 4 banks. So some of the workers, for me, I'm a contract staff, so we were to be laid off while some of the staffs were being maintained there. Yeah. So I think they never give us anything per se. They only gave us our salaries that they were owing us.
Okay, so since you went off, what have you now been engaging yourself in? Were you able to find another job? What have you been doing?
I applied a job which was a NAPCO. Yeah, so currently I'm with the NAPCO as a trainee. With the NAPCO.
And how is that also going for you?
You know, it's not easy. Even though the government is trying, but it's been challenging because some of our real salaries don't come on time. Like I'm saying now, up to date, we don't have our July salary, even though some regions have been paid, but for Accra, it's never like that.
It has been tough. You're just there and then just trying to do something. Okay, now I'm trying to repair laptops and then phones for the meantime while I search for a job. So that's what I've been doing.
And does that pay off enough?
It is not enough, but what can you do? You're at home, so you just need to do something that will earn you money. Then just trust and put your hopes on God.
But the chaos was far from over. In May 2019, the Bank of Ghana revoked the license of 386 insolvent microfinance and microcredit companies. Then on Friday, 16th of August 2019, the Bank of Ghana in a statement revoked the license of a total of 23 savings and loans companies and finance houses.
So this journey began, which started with the revocation of licenses of 2 banks in 2017. In total, 9 banks had their licenses revoked. And then followed up with the microfinance institutions early this year. And then this is the last set, which is for the savings and loans and the finance house subsectors.
Let's start.
We had the revocation of licenses of 23 savings and loans institutions. The receiver moved in, and we have men across the 503 or so branches across the country. What would happen is that on Friday we locked up the places, engaged the employees, explained the processes to them, and on Monday we would go in there and work with these employees to go into the books, locate the books, find out what is in the books, and basically begin the process of running the institution.
The announcement sent hundreds of customers thronging to their various financial institutions demanding their funds.
We heard the announcement, so we have to rush here to see what's happening. Unfortunately, when it came here, they've locked the banking hall with the excuse that the government said it should lock it up because of the insolvent issue. But as I now have my investment over here.
How much is
over 200, and that's 20,000 Ghana cedis investment. And that made me to rush here to see how far.
I have not got any better news from them. They told us to be keeping waiting. So it's capital unfortunate. Oh, so what are we to do is no member has come to inform us better food. This is what we are standing for.
So you're here to get your money?
I'm here for my money.
They only me 700.
Okay.
They started insurance, savings and insurance, and I have some in the insurance, and I have some savings and insurance, okay. Both. And maybe it can be more than that, but okay. I quite remember 700, but Maybe it can be more than that. Yes, it will be more than that.
And now that we are learning that their license has been revoked, what happens to your 700 cedis and more?
And those were the predicament of some customers of defunct savings and loans companies which recently had their licenses revoked by the central bank. And on that note, we wrap up this afternoon's edition of the Marketplace. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. You have to have a good afternoon.